Volunteers. This is Module 1 training. Today I will give you an overview of our United Way and our investment process. Today we'll give you just a brief explanation of what to expect as a volunteer, the timeline, and what's to come next. So with all that, we will get started with getting to know United Way. Today you'll receive essential components of the strategic plan, 6 community goals, and 3 core strategies. Our new strategic plan is a collaborative approach to sustainable change. This is the 3rd year of our 5-year strategic plan. This strategic plan takes into consideration the interrelated and leverages our strength as a convener and facilitator. There's a focus on addressing the 4 broad social changes identified through the community convening process we conducted 4 years ago. In addition to the 4 focus areas and the 6 related community goals, we continue to work in communities to address the basic needs of residents. There are 3 core strategies that we are using: collaborative networks, opportunity zones, and investment strategies. In many cases, these strategies have been implemented on a smaller scale with promising success that we implemented on a broader scale. The 6 community goals. Our 6 community goals are education, health, homelessness, and income. Education is an area of work that has been around for some time. We're leveraging funding resources to provide children, youth, and their families with the support they need, along with education from birth to 21. Health, babies are born healthy, is a new area which we've been able to leverage United Way funding resources to bring more financial support for this area. In homelessness, the Regional Commission on Homelessness has been in existence for 9 years. It is our first collaborative network, and it is one that we model a lot of our other collaborative networks after. Income. In income, we are increasing the number of people who are financially self-sufficient by leveraging funding or resources to bring to scale 2 evidence-based practices: transitional employment and sector-based career development. The 3 core strategies. The 3 core strategies that move our work are the collaborative networks, opportunity zones, and investment strategies. The collaborative networks, and each collaborative network has a leadership council, which is a group of experts and community leaders that set strategic direction, monitor progress, and build partnerships across the region. Opportunity zones. There's an opportunity council on opportunity zones, which is a local group of community stakeholders that guide the implementation of the opportunity zone. They serve as the critical community leadership that is needed to prioritize issues and strategies, build broad community support, and maintain a focus on the core concepts behind the opportunity zone strategy. The investment strategy. There's a subcommittee of the Community Engagement Council, the Community Investment Council, otherwise known as CIC, who has the primary responsibility for developing, recommending guidelines, criteria for investment decisions, implementation of grant review process, and monitoring results for all grant making. Now let's look at the collaborative networks. The collaborative network is when looking at the collaborative network, it's looking at a greater coordination across our 13 county areas that we service. Networks are formed around goals with diverse groups of stakeholders: nonprofits, for-profit, government funders, and policymakers and business leaders. Each goal has partnership clusters. The partnership clusters are working groups focused on specific populations of bodies of work related to the community goal. Each goal is broken further into clusters. For example, under education, there are potentially 4 clusters: school readiness, successful middle school transition, alcohol, tobacco, drug use, and those are just examples of 4 of the clusters that are under education. Clusters will either research best practices, promising practices, program designs and implementation, policy issues and strategies, or evaluate design, data collection methods, or build capacity in the field, particularly around improving the quality of services. Clusters will be made up of representatives from United Way partners, nonprofit organizations, government, and a variety of community organizations. The funders group, a group of funders that share an interest in advancing a particular goal, which may provide the opportunity to do co-grant making or leverage existing investment portfolios. There is a coordinated, focused grant making along with joint monitoring and report out to the community. In addition, this group will also be charged with making recommendations to the Leadership Council regarding findings on best practices. Memberships in the partnership cluster is open and will continue to be defined and redefined as groups mature. Partnership clusters will meet as needed, but will be encouraged to meet at least bi-monthly. Although we have these proposed thoughts about the council, it will operate and be vetted with each council for further refinement and implementation. Grantees are automatically included in networks where their work aligns. They can also participate in networks where they have an interest. They will be represented on the Leadership Council, but we anticipate the majority of grantees will be engaged at the partnership cluster level. Opportunity zones. Our approach to implementing a place-based strategy has been based on the idea that neighborhoods can dramatically benefit if local services are coordinated, local leadership is mobilized, and assessed in the community work together towards shared goals. The theory behind the opportunity zones says if communities can increase coordination and improve collaboration, then families will experience meaningful change faster and across multiple areas in their lives. The rollout of the opportunity zones was divided into two stages. First, the learning phase, focused on introducing the concept, engaging community partners, and maximizing learning. And two, the use of lessons to inform implementation. We identified 6 core concepts that would guide the implementation of opportunity zones. Focus efforts within a targeted community, establish a shared local vision, coordinate intentionally layered services, leverage existing assets from across sectors, engage residents as decision makers, and mobilize community leaders. Our new investment model. Our new investment model was implemented in the 2012 investment process. The strategic investment process aligns within the 6 goals and funds innovations to spur new thinking and measurable impact. It will continue funding the urgent and basic human care work that makes United Way a component of Metro Atlanta's safety net. It was recognized that making meaningful progress on the 6 community goals was dependent on making strategic investments. Therefore, last year we launched a new investment model that would allow us to be more strategic in our investments to achieve our goals. This included strengthening our funding eligibility criteria to have an increased focus on results and a program's ability to demonstrate results. Going forward, the Community Impact Fund will partner with agencies whose work is directly tied to accomplishment of the 6 community goals and that have demonstrated the ability to address the elements in the funding guidelines in the organizational capacity, financial capacity, and measures of outcome. Our investment volunteer structure. As you can see here in this chart, it shows you the structure of the investment volunteers. We are implementing a volunteer structure that provides the flexibility to strategically invest United Way dollars and leverage other resources across the 13 regions. Regional investment committees organized by focus area with representation from all counties to achieve the strategic results in education, health, income, and homelessness by 2014. Now let's look at the 2012-2013 community investment process. This diagram shows the flow of the 2012-2013 investment process. You have an overview of all the components and their descriptions from start to finish. Please note the color code key in the center of the slide, which shows the key parties involved in each step. Now we will walk you through each step of the investment process. The letter of intent process. One of the key elements for the new investment model was to level the playing field by creating a fair competition for all applicants regardless of agency size. The letter of intent is the first phase of the investment process. It provides an opportunity for applicants to give a snapshot of their agency and program. Based on the results of this process, applicants will be invited to submit an application and proceed further in the process. Now let's review the first steps of the process. Letter of intent, application submitted, and compliance review. After the letter of intent is approved, agencies are asked to submit a full application. Approved LOIs will submit applications through the online database manager. In a 5-part process, applicants will complete and submit a letter of intent for each program funding request. Move ahead to the second step of submitting a program application only if the LOIs are approved. Staff will then conduct a compliance review. United Way staff will review compliance issues related to state of government, Secretary of State registration, 501c3, and things of that nature. Financial review. Volunteers with financial backgrounds begin to review agency financials to ensure applicants are financially sound. A review of the agency's financials will be completed by the Financial Review Committee, volunteer CPAs, to ensure that the agency's financial health. The financial review is a critical step in our process to ensure that donors' investments are distributed to organizations equipped to use those resources to deliver human services. The ratios are set by the Financial Review Committee. The range is defined based on looking at how all agencies are doing in specific areas. The ratios are based on the following key areas the committee reviews: liquidity, primary reserves, and supporting services, and debt burden. Liquidity measures the organization's ability to cover its current obligations with available liquid assets. Primary reserves measures financial strength and the flexibility by indicating how long the organization could function using its expendable reserves. Supporting services measures the percentage of total expenses used as administrative costs. And debt burden examines the organization's dependency on borrowed funds as a source of financing. Independent reviews. Proposals reviewed by independent volunteer panel of volunteers with a focus area in specific backgrounds. Just a reminder, volunteer training takes place at the same time as the financial and compliance review. As for the independent review, it is another element of the new investment model introduced last year. This is another volunteer screen conducted by volunteers that have content knowledge of the focus areas. They may be practitioners in the field. Before investment volunteers review the applications, independent review volunteers conduct a blind review of the agency or program, and the agency and program name is removed. The feedback from this review is available to investment volunteers. Community Investment Volunteer Review. Help United Way of Metropolitan Atlanta to invest in the highest quality programs that demonstrate measurable progress towards our 6 community goals. Investment volunteers are from all counties within the 13 county service area. Site visit teams include at least one volunteer that represents the county perspective from a local program funded under the previous structure. Please ensure that you review each of the bulleted points in the slide regarding the volunteer review. Volunteer expectations. Be informed. Represent United Way to applicant agency, staff, and volunteers by participating in site team visits. Review and assess program applications prior to arriving to site visits. Utilize the tools and criteria to develop sound funding recommendations. Participate in developing an investment committee funding plan. Build effective relationships with volunteers on your team and United Way of Metropolitan Atlanta. Volunteer review. We project that the time commitment for investment volunteers would take approximately 35 hours over a 6-month window. This chart gives you an idea of what to expect as far as the time commitment for training, how long it would take to review applications, site visits, wrap up, and the total time that we are asking you to commit. Site visit agenda. Agency staff will be will be contacted by United Way of Metropolitan Atlanta staff via email and or phone regarding date, time, and location of the site of the visit. During the site visit, the agency will make a presentation to provide a clear program description. Be prepared to answer questions and provide any requested reporting documentation for the Regional Focus Area Investment Committee. The agency will be notified 3 to 5 business days prior to the site visit if additional supportive documentation is required. Agency board members are welcome at the site visit but are not required to be present or part of the presentation. It is recommended and highly encouraged that following agency staff be presented to help answer any questions panel volunteers may have: president, program staff, and finance staff. A minimum of 2 volunteers must be in attendance to conduct the site visit. If 1 volunteer is present, the United Way of Metropolitan Atlanta staff person will contact the other volunteer and wait 15 minutes before canceling the visit. The site visit is when investment volunteers visit agencies to evaluate and score programs. Come prepared. Be sure to read the application, take notes, identify questions you want to add. Be on time. Staff will confirm the date, time, and location with you. While traffic and other issues do arise, do your best to be on time. Set a positive tone. The wrap-up. Once all site visits have been conducted for a focus area, volunteers will convene to discuss their findings. This is when the Regional Focus Area Investment Committee will deliberate to make initial funding recommendations. This phase of the process is known as the wrap-up. The Community Investment Committee provides the volunteer management oversight on the process and will develop the guidelines. The chart that you see in front of you, this is the investment timeline. This timeline gives you an idea of when to expect things. In January, February, we did a lot of our volunteer recruitment. In March, we are conducting our volunteer training and site visit scheduling. From March through May, program site visits will be conducted. In May, Regional Focus Area Investment Committee conducts the wrap-up. In late May, United Way leadership and volunteer committees review funding recommendations. In June, the United Way Board of Directors votes on the 2012-2013 investment funding recommendations. In June, agencies are notified of their funding. And that is the end of Module 1. We hope that this gave you a brief overview of what to expect during this time as an investment volunteer. We'd like to thank you once again for allowing us to have your time and your talents during this process, and we look forward to working with you along this investment process. Thank you and have a good day.